Hello and welcome. I'm Holly from ReFrame Pilates, and I'm just going to be taking you through about a 20-minute flowing Pilates session today. This is probably about an intermediate level, so make sure that you're working to a level that feels good to your body. Remember, this is about healing, not hurting, so we should be feeling pretty good throughout the session and at the end. You're going to take a moment or two just to settle into the space, settle into your mat. So sitting in a comfortable seated position, whether it's cross-legged like me or in a long frog or on a block, something that feels easy for you to feel your sitting bones grounding down and your spine lengthening up. And as you sit here, just take a moment or two to breathe and soften and settle. Let the breath flow in and out of the body, grounding yourself here in this space on your mat. We're going to start to do a little bit of gentle neck and head mobilization. So when you're ready next, you're going to take a little tip of the head to one side. So just dropping the ear towards the shoulder, and as you exhale, roll the chin towards the chest. As you inhale, drop the ear to the shoulder on the other side. And as you exhale, chin to chest. As we flow through this, a good few times to each side, you're going to start to just match the movement to your breath. So don't worry about how quickly or slowly you're moving through these things. They just move in a way that matches your breath. And you feel a real sense of ease and opening up into the body. Feeling out a nice range of stretch for you and your neck today. Noticing that the breath stays steady and even, just flowing in and flowing out. When you're even from side to side next, you're just simply going to bring the head back up through the center, and we're going to start to take a few deeper breaths, mobilizing the shoulders. So breathing in, take the arms out and up over your head, and as you exhale, reach the arms wide to come back down. Breathing in, float the arms up, and exhaling, push the arms around and down. Keep going like this. Allow the shoulders to glide a little bit here. We want to move, create space in the body, flowing again with the breath. We're going to start to add a little bit of a rotation in. So on the next time when your arms are up, reach the arms up, take the left arm as you twist, find your knee and deepen the rotation. Use your hands. Breathing in, you come back up through the center. And as you exhale, twist it round to the other side. Use the hands to create a little opposition and help you rotate. Breathe in, prioritize the length, and keep prioritizing the length as you rotate through the back. Just unlocking the spine, creating some space in between the vertebrae. Good. And from here, we're going to start to move into a side reach. So bringing your left hand down to the floor, you're going to reach up and over to the side. Breathing in, you come back up to the center. And as you breathe out, come over to the other side. As you move from side to side here, I want you to notice that your sitting bones are grounded down into the mat. So they're always there as your anchors. And then you create this space into the sides of the body. Moving with the breath. Opening up those intercostal muscles. Good. Finding your flow. From here, we're going to transition onto a 4-point kneeling position. So when you're ready, you're going to come up onto your hands and knees. Spread the fingers wide, place them under the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And we're going to start to flow through a few shoulder exercises first. So squeezing the shoulder blades together, your chest will drop down, and you push the shoulder blades apart, your chest will lift. The elbows stay straight. It's just simple protraction and retraction of the shoulders, flossing out the shoulder joint. You're going to come and rest in a place that is in the middle, and we start to flow through a cat. So finding your deep cat stretch and then extending out through the spine, you look to the front. Exhale as the belly draws up and in, you round your spine. Breathing in, you extend out through the back. And just keep flowing here with your breath, waking up those abdominal muscles so that when you find yourself in your cat, you are strongly scooping those abdominals up and in. We're going to stay there, tucking the toes under, taking a little hover of the knees up and then placing them back down. It's really small. They're just like 1 or 2 inches off the mat. So keep your eyes looking back at your own knees so you can check that they're not moving too high. This way you really start to fire up those deep abdominal muscles and get yourself good, thinking about a place of centering. From here, we're going to stay up and you're going to glide your weight back and forwards. So staying in that deep rounded cat shape, just glide your body weight forwards and back. You'll feel the front of your thighs maybe start to get a little bit warm, and of course feeling a weight transfer forwards and back. Good. So from here, you're going to settle the knees back down onto the mat, untuck the toes, extend out through the spine, and then return to a position that is a flat back or more neutral position to the spine. We're going to do a second variation, tucking toes under, lifting those knees, take a little hover, and then you're back down. And again, just like before, it's a little different. You'll feel those lower abdominals working slightly differently, and the eye gaze should be towards the top edge of your mat here. So the neck is long, finding that centering. We're going to hover when you are next lifted, and we're going to transfer the weight back and forwards again, back and forwards. So feeling a little bit of upper body work now, the shoulders, the wrists, a bit of load bearing. If of course you need a break at any point, feel free to take child's pose. But if you can continue down, you can drop the knees down and then round into your back, find a cat. Inhale as you extend out through the spine. Exhaling, take another round of cat. And inhaling, you extend. When you're in cat again, you're going to tuck your toes under, and this time lift the knees all the way up, press up into a high inverted V. Press the heels down and then rise the heels up. We're going to flow through this a few times. Notice the weight is shifting a little bit forwards and back here as we mobilize the feet and the ankles. Then I'm going to do a slightly different variation where the weight doesn't move forwards or back. You just lift the heels up nice and high and then press them down. So you have to create space to get your tailbone higher there. Scoop those abdominals up and in. From here, we're going to transition back down onto the mat. So bending the knees, scoop the tummy in, you find your cat, and then untuck the toes, extending out to the spine. Good. Round the back, find a cat, toes tuck, knees lift, you're in inverted V. Then rising up on your toes, bend your knees, come back down. We're going to flow through this a few times. So you're going to exhale, back rounds, inhale, lift, exhale, press the heels. Inhale, rising up on the toes, exhale, bend the knees to come back down. Good. Finding your flow, moving with your breath, mobilizing, giving those calves a bit of a stretch out. Good. And as you come back down this time, we're going to settle back one final time into a downward dog, and when you find yourself back down onto the floor, we're going to transition into a little rest position if you haven't met us there already. Just sit your bum back and down, the arms are out in front of you. You can have the knees as wide as you need to feel comfortable, or you can have them all the way together. Any little micro movements you need to do to make yourself comfortable, feel free. You can offload the wrists. Sometimes I take the hands, fold them behind my head, just make a little prayer position there. Whatever your body needs to do, just take a moment to calm and breathe. When you come back up, we're going to place ourselves a little bit further forwards on the mat if you aren't there already. We're going to move into plank work. So from a neutral spine, take the left leg out, tuck the toes under, and then hover that right knee up and down a few times, trying not to let the hips get too high or too low. It's just a small hover. From there, step the right leg back, bring the left knee forwards, and take a few hovers of the left knee up and down. Trying to stay strong in your plank. We are going to move in and out of full plank a little bit here. So when you're ready, step that left leg back, bring the right knee forwards to a hover, and then place it down. Hover the right knee, step it back, bring the left knee forwards, and place it down. This is a really nice option if you want to practice coming in and out of plank. Just finding those deep stabilization muscles to help you hold what is, I know, a very challenging position for lots of people. From here, send your hips high, so you're into another inverted V, and we're going to start to flow. Open the hips as you come down towards the mat. You're going to extend all the way out into an extended spine. Then tuck the chin, round the back, ripple the spine back up. You're in inverted V. So as you ripple out like a wave, the front of the hips open, the spine extends. You look to the front of the room, and then your chin tucks in. You come back up. Good. So the breathing here, you're going to exhale as you ripple out through the spine. Breathe in as you look forwards. Exhale, tuck the chin in towards the chest, and inhale, press your heels back and down. You're going to settle into a stretch. So take your right arm and find the left leg somewhere on the outside to hold on to. Take a rotation through the spine. And then we're going to transition to the other side. So reaching that left arm underneath, grab hold somewhere on the outside of the right leg, ankle, shin, whatever you can get a hold of. And then coming back to your downward dog, we're going to lower to plank position, and from here go all the way down. If you need to drop on the knees, drop on the knees, or just press up, lower yourself all the way down to the mat. You are lying onto your front. We're going to work through some back extension here. So setting ourselves up with long legs. The hands are going to come to a cobra position on either side of the head. And we're going to take an inhale as you hover up into a spinal extension and exhale as you soften down. You want to keep a sensation of connection in your core here. So you're not really compressing into the lumbar spine. You're feeling beautiful strength in the upper middle back muscles. Open the arms to a big T and then reach them back to the legs. We're going to flow through this as you breathe in, lift your spine, reach the hands back to the legs, and as you exhale, drop a little bit, the arms go wide. Good. Get that nice breath work to help you here. The inhale helps you find space to lift, and the exhale lets you lower down a little bit. Coming down to the mat, if you need to give the hips a wiggle for a moment, settle in, do that. And then you're going to prop yourself up onto your elbows, make 2 fists and put them together. Your pelvis stays anchored, your shoulders are down onto the back. We're going to start with single leg kick. So bending one leg, kicking the heel in, lengthen, in, and lengthen. As you flow through this, notice that the pelvis isn't shifting from side to side. You're staying grounded with the pelvis. The chest is open to the front. The shoulders are down onto the back. Strong contraction of the hamstrings, and the front of the thigh gets a beautiful stretch. When you're even, lower yourself down. Take your hands one on top of the other into the small of your back. Double leg kick. You're going to pick up the legs and kick 3 times towards your bum. And then inhale, you extend up through the spine. Exhale, kick, kick, kick. Inhale, extending up. If you've got the sort of space to think about it, you're going to turn your head from side to side each time you come down. So you just mobilize the neck a little bit. But you're simply combining a bit of a leg exercise here with some spinal extension. So find a level that's a good level for you. It's not too high. Really think about elongating. Relax down. Take the hands to either side of the chest, sitting up and back onto your knees. You sit back and down. Take a child's pose. If you like the hands behind you, you can do that. Or if you want a little stretch with me, you're just going to take your hands and you're going to reach them over to the right side of the room. As you take a little stretch here, just take a moment or two to breathe. And then, of course, taking the hands over when you're ready to the other side. And then taking yourself into that stretch. Just enjoy that feeling of the stretch down the side of the body, and then come back to the center, rolling yourself up. We're going to transition up onto your knees. So hip distance apart, kneeling into the center of your mat. Take your arms wide. Take the right leg out to the side. Drop the left hand down to the floor. We're going to move through a bit of leg work here. So that right leg is going to lift up and down, up and down. Trying to keep the hips square to the front, the shoulders open and square to the front. From here, we're going to move forwards and back. Still trying to keep nice and square with that body. You're just going to sweep the leg forwards and back, working pretty hard into the glutes and the hips, I know. So just keep the breath flowing. Try to move with ease, and we're going to move in 4 circles in each direction as well. So just circling the thigh from the top of the hip joint, stirring that thigh bone. Beautiful. This is a quick but effective. We're going to take a little balance to come up. See if you can find a little bit of air time. Take a little bit of a hover before we transition over to do this quick glute exercise on the other side. So coming down with the hand, you're going to lift that left leg up and down and up and down. Strong center. Up and down is a little easier than forwards and back. So when we move into the forwards and back, know that you've got to wake up that core a little bit more. We're still trying to work the glutes to get that range happening with the leg moving forwards and back, but from a strong center. Same thing with the circles. We need to mobilize the spine. So as you start to circle the leg, remember to stabilize the spine from your center. When you're even with the circles in each direction, we'll see if we can take that little bit of a hover to come back up, just testing out the balance. Good. And then come and place the knees hip distance apart, hands onto the pelvis. Just flow through a few flow stretches here. We're going to sit the bum back and down, and then as you exhale, scoop the belly up and in and ripple forwards and up. So think again, kind of like a wave through the pelvis here. You're finding a little bit of front of thigh lengthening, and pretty strong work in the front of the thighs as well. Flowing with the breath, exhaling as you curl back up. You're going to turn side on, staying in your high kneeling position. We're going to do a bit of front of thigh stretch. So you're going to sweep the arms forwards as your spine leans back, and then you sweep the arms a little bit behind you as you lean a little bit forwards. So trying to imagine that you're in a plank from your knees all the way up to your head, even though I know I've cut my head off in this video. You're going to stay nice and centered and just find that beautiful stretch down the front of the thighs while they work pretty hard to bring you back up again. Amazing. I know these ones are hard. So from here, we're going to transition down onto lying on your back. So come to sit a little bit towards the top edge of your mat, tuck under from the pelvis, and roll yourself bone by bone all the way down until you are lying flat on your back. Make any little adjustments you need. We're going to bring the feet probably a little bit closer to your pelvis, so you settle the feet down hip distance apart, and in parallel we're going to work through some spine curling. So on your exhale, lift the pelvis, lift the spine up into a bridge. Breathing in, reach your arms up and back. Exhaling, you melt the spine down. Bone by bone, when your pelvis hits the mat, return the hands back down. So again, find that exhale to articulate and lift. Breathing in, find the reach of the arms. Leave them at the back. Your spine melts down away from the reach of the hands till the pelvis releases into neutral, and then the hands circle around and down. So just easing and creating that little bit more space in the vertebrae. You want to feel that you really are moving sequentially here. There's that bone by bone by bone articulation. I'm going to add in a little bit with some leg work here. So on the next one, when you're up into your bridge, you're going to take your hands and place them onto the pelvis. They're almost holding you a little bit, but also to notice your weight. Take your right leg, reach it up to the ceiling, and then step it back down. Stand into the right leg so strongly that the left leg floats up nice and easy. Step down and keep alternating from side to side like this. Ideally keeping the hips super square. Standing into that standing leg beautifully, strongly, the hamstrings, the glutes working together to keep this beautiful positioning. When you are even from side to side, you get to take the arms, reach them all the way up and back, leaving them at the back of the room. You're going to soften and melt the spine all the way back down. Good. Circling the hands down so they rest beside you. We're going to come up into a little bit of abdominal work. So lifting the legs up into a tabletop position. We're going to breathe in as the arms reach up and back. As you exhale, chin to chest, and find your curl up. Breathing in, you move back and down. Exhaling, draw the rib cage towards the pelvis and curl up. Notice that the pelvis is staying pretty anchored and heavy into the floor. You're finding the height of this curl up because you're bringing your upper body towards the pelvis, not curling your pelvis up towards your chest. Flowing with the breath. I'm going to move into a little bit more of an abdominal series here. We're going to do single leg stretch with the legs only. So as you extend the legs out in front of you, you're trying to look down your center line and keep yourself square with the pelvis. If you want to make it a more challenging, you take the legs out on a little bit lower angle, but then when you're even, pull them both in. Take your hands behind your head. We're going to lengthen both legs out and then pull both knees in. So breathing in to reach, breathing out to pull in. Strong work in the core here. You've got complete control. You can take the legs lower if you need to, or keep them high if you need to. We're going to do one more thing in your abdominal series. We're going to move into scissors. So I want you to reach both legs up, grab your right leg, pull it in, and then change to the left. So you pull, pull, and pull, pull. Good. Finding that nice even scissor split, stabilizing your core, stabilizing the pelvis. It's really easy to rock a little bit. So square pelvis. When you're even, bend the knees, take the hands back behind your head, and let the feet come down. We'll just settle into a place where we can give ourselves a bit of a nice stretch here. So taking your arms to a bit of a low V with the palms facing up, walk the knees and feet together. And just take a spiraling twist. Send the knees over to one side, turn the head away. As you exhale, pull back into the center and spiral across to the other side. You'll notice the feet stay stuck together here, so therefore that means one foot might lift off the mat a little bit, and that's okay. Just enjoy this beautiful spinal stretch as you rotate through the back. You can stay with this. If you want to give yourself a little more challenge, reach your arms to a high V, palms still up, cross your right leg over the left, and then send your knees over to the left side of the room. Take an in-breath, and as you exhale, you can just ease yourself back into the center, keeping the legs crossed the same way. Send the knees over to the other side. Take another in-breath there. And as you exhale, pull the weight of the legs back into the center. You can change the cross on the legs. Give it a try on the other side. Noticing how it feels different maybe from one side to the other. You might feel tightness in the pecs or down the obliques or into the hips. Wherever you are feeling this is okay. Just a gentle mobilization for the spine. When you're even from side to side, you're just going to grab the knees, hug them in towards the chest, and take a few generous circles with the knees. Allow your back to move a little bit. It can imprint, the pelvis to move. And I'm just going to finish off with a few gentle leg stretches. So placing your left foot down to the mat, hold behind the right thigh and just straighten and bend that right leg a few times, lengthening out the hamstring, trying to keep the pelvis pretty steady. Holding the leg as straight as you can comfortably get it, you take your hands to where you can reasonably hold, and I know you can't see my toes, but I'm flexing and pointing, so you're going to flex and point your feet. And then take a few ankle circles as well, just mobilizing into the ankle joint a little bit here. Good. And then take that ankle, fold it on top of your left thigh, and you can pick up behind the left thigh to find a glute or a piriformis stretch. Some of you might even want to hold onto the shin. That gives you a slightly deeper stretch. So again, just working to a place where you can take a moment, maybe a little rocking from side to side. Just let your breath be nice and even. Give yourself a little space to open up, and then we'll change and do the other side. So grabbing hold of the back of the left thigh, you're going to straighten and bend that left leg up and down a few times, testing out what is your hamstring length. Can the leg be straight? It doesn't have to go all the way straight. Move to where you can, and then hold it as straight as you can, and flex and point the foot. If you feel like you can take the hands a little higher, do feel free. Take your ankle circles in each direction. And then we'll move into the hip stretch as well. So when you're ready, you're going to take the ankle, fold it on top of the opposite knee. Then you grab hold, grabbing the back of the thigh or perhaps onto the shin, whatever works for you and your body. And once you've found a hip opening stretch, just take a few gentle rocks from side to side. From here, I want you to find any comfortable position. You can have the knees knocking together with the feet on the floor. You could just let the knees flop out to the sides. You could even straighten the legs out. I really don't mind. You can have your hands wide on the floor beside you and palms facing up. You could have the hands resting onto your belly or your chest if that's more comfortable for you. Just make sure you settle into a place that you feel comfortable. This should feel easy and nice. And just take a few breaths. Coming to find this place of quiet and stillness now at the end of the session. Just allow yourself to soften into the mat and be held by the earth underneath you. Just simply start to unwind and let go. This is your time to allow yourself to be truly in touch with where you are, no matter where that is, and just give yourself a pause to let the present moment sink in. You may feel some areas of tension or resistance in the body, and if you do, just see if you can allow a little bit more softness and release to be invited into those areas. Sometimes you can and sometimes you can't. Just notice what's going on. Simply feeling the present moment. See it in its fullness. Hold it in your awareness. Giving yourself this gift of rest, returning to the quiet of stillness. Just taking steady, even breaths here at your own pace, in your own natural rhythm. Just seeing if that with each breath you might potentially be able to drop a little bit deeper into stillness, find a little bit more release. You don't have to change anything about how quickly or slowly you're breathing. Just be present for the breath. Breathe and let be. Breathe and let go.